Over 100 Navy SEALs plan to march on Washington in support of Pete Hegseth. There has been nothing but smear campaign after smear campaign against President Donald Trump's nomination for Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, and the Navy SEAL community ain't having it. My friend Bill Brown, who is a combat veteran Navy SEAL organizer of the Navy SEAL swim across the Hudson River, which I've had the honor of completing with the SEALs several times, he is organizing this march, and I'm on the email chain. And so when he put out this blast email to all the people in the SEAL community, the response was immediate and overwhelming. Pete Hegseth has been there and swam across the Hudson River with the SEALs, but more than that, he has promoted their cause to raise money for the Navy SEAL Foundation. He has promoted combat veterans and the veteran community his entire life. And now the veteran community, in particular, the SEAL community, is going to be there to have Pete's back. Bill Brown put out this thing, and I'm telling you, the response was immediate, and it was overwhelming that the SEALs would say, hell yeah, I will be there to support Pete Hegseth in his confirmation hearings. So now, this better be a loud message to any GOP senator out there that is even thinking about voting a no on Pete Hegseth's confirmation. Now, all the reports that we're hearing right now from the senators are that all senators are going to be voting yes in support of Pete Hegseth being the Secretary of Defense. But the mainstream media keeps on badgering Pete. Hey, are you gonna withdraw your name from consideration? And Pete Hegseth has remained firm and he has remained strong, saying, "I'm a fighter. I'm here to fight for the war fighters." Okay, here was a clip of Pete talking to the media.
Wonderful process to go through and meet with senators and talk to them, especially members of the Senate Armed Services Committee, whose passion is the Defense Department, and our warfighters, to hear what they want to do to make sure that department is properly oriented for the threats of the world and make sure that we're putting the warfighters first. That's what Donald Trump asked me to do. Your job is to bring a warfighting ethos back to the Pentagon. Your job is to make sure that it's lethality, lethality, lethality. Everything else is gone. Everything else that distracts from that shouldn't be happening. That's the message I'm hearing from senators in that advise and consent process. And it's been a wonderful process.
Lethality is exactly what we expect from our military and what we want to hear from the leadership there. Now, this was a smear campaign that started with Pete and his past relationships, trying to destroy his character. They put out an email from Pete's mom during a time of a tumultuous divorce that he was going through, and they posted it publicly. And so Pete's mom actually went on Fox News to set the record straight. By the way, in that entire email that she put, never mentioned anything about this drinking thing that all of a sudden became another smear campaign issue, which is what you had anonymous sources saying that Pete Hegseth's coming to work drunk all the time and he's got a big drinking problem. So Will Cain, who has co-hosted every morning with Pete Hegseth, has his back and has collected a number of people standing up for Pete Hegseth, myself being one of them. I've been interviewed by Pete Hegseth a few times on Fox and Friends early in the morning, and I'm telling you right now, as a recovering alcoholic and coming from a family, unfortunately, riddled with alcoholics, it's very simple to spot the warning signs or the symptoms of a drinker. Pete Hegseth had none of that. Not only have I been interviewed several times by Pete, but I've been there at the Fox News studio with Pete. I've been on the road at CPACs with Pete Hegseth. I swam across the Hudson River with Pete. There's not a chance that this is a guy with a drinking issue, a drinking problem. So it's a total smear campaign. So a lot of support is coming out for Pete Hegseth, and shame on these left-wing lunatics out there that are trying to do everything they can to discredit this man. And again, it goes back to what he said in his clip there. This is about the lethality of the military. This is about killing bad guys, is what we want in the leadership. And Pete Hegseth is the right guy for the job because he is going to eradicate this woke ideology that has just infiltrated our own military. You know, a few years back, the Navy SEALs changed their freaking ethos to make it a gender-neutral ethos. Could you imagine the top of the tier fighting unit that we have for our country, and you're pussifying it, saying, we're going to use gender-neutral terms so that we don't hurt anybody's feelings. There's never been a female SEAL in the history of the SEAL teams, and there is a high probability of like 99.9% that there never will be one, unless, of course, they lower the standards. Actually, when this happened, I spoke to Navy SEAL Jocko Willink about it. Here was his take. And we just seen they put a thing out about the changing the SEAL ethos from making it gender neutral. Did you have any kind of opinion? Did you see that story, or what kind of opinion you have on that?
Yeah, I saw that they were doing something like that. I read through the directive from the admiral that he put out. I don't really understand what the point of that is. There's a lot of there's that whole thing, the SEAL ethos that was written a while ago, trying to give SEALs a baseline of how to make their decisions. So I think that's a positive thing to do, is to give SEALs some kind of an ethos where they can make decisions based on that ethos. The changes that they're making right now seems like they might be. I'm not really quite sure why they're doing it. I retired 10 years ago. I'm not 100% sure why they're doing it. There's not any female SEALs. I don't know if there ever will be, but yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on with that.
Yeah, obviously, no one has any clue why they would do that, because it makes no sense. It's not what we want to see, and this is something that Pete Hegseth will get rid of in our military. We don't need our most lethal warfighters on the face of the earth to be bogged down with woke ideology, transgenderism, and all this stuff, man. That's not what we need in there, and Pete will get rid of it, and this is why the left-wingers are mad about Pete Hegseth coming in there for the Secretary of Defense position. He has got the back of the veteran community, the combat veteran community, the special forces community. And I'm telling you, just from being at those swims, these guys love Pete Hegseth, man. And he is a very big, outspoken supporter of all the veterans in our country. And he is the right man for the job. Listen to these combat veterans, these guys that have laid it on the line, not these BS pundits that you're hearing on left-wing mainstream media talking about Pete Hegseth. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. Take it from the people that have been there and laid it on the line. They think Pete Hegseth is the right guy for the job, and that's good enough for me, and it damn well better be good for the GOP Senators, and they should be confirming Pete Hegseth on the first round. And anybody that dares not to will be primaried and be done the next time they're up for office.
You're listening to the Alec Show. The future is family.